Inshallah, we'll be starting in about 5 minutes, so please find your seats, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please take your seats as we'll be starting right now, inshallah. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We begin by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by praising Him and by sending peace and blessings upon His Prophet and Messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My name is Yasin Sheikh and I will be your MC for tonight. As usual, we begin our gatherings with the recitation of the Holy Quran. So first and foremost, I would like to invite our Imam, Hudayfa Siddiqi, who is a world-renowned Qari, to start us off, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون. ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم. يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه فأما الذين اسودت وجوههم أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون. وأما الذين ابيضت ابيضت وجوههم ففي رحمة الله هم فيها خالدون تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. Inshallah, we're reciting, reading the verses, the translation of the verses that I just recited. Surah Al-Imran, verse 102. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and let not yourself die save as Muslims. Hold fast, all of you, to the cord of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be not divided. Remember the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you, when you were enemies to each other, and He brought your hearts together so that you may become brothers through His blessings. You were at the brink of a pit of fire. Then He saved you from it. This is how Allah makes His signs clear to you, so that you may take the right path. There has to be a group of people from amongst you who call towards the good, and bid the fair and forbid the unfair. And it is these who are successful. Do not be like those who became divided and fell into disputes after the clear signs had come to them. Those are the ones for whom there is grave punishment. One day, when some faces shall turn bright and some faces shall turn dark. As for those whose face turned dark, they shall be questioned, did you disbelieve after you had accepted the faith? Now taste the punishment because you used to disbelieve. As for those whose faces turn bright, they will rest in Allah's mercy. They will live there forever. These are the verses of Allah we recite to you with all the veracity. Allah does not intend to do injustice to anyone in the world. To Allah belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth. To Allah is all matters, and everybody returns to Him. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Barakallahu feekum.
Jazakum Allahu khairan to Imam Hudayfa for such beautiful recitation. May Allah make us among those who have bright faces on the Day of Judgment. May Allah make us those who enjoin in what is good and forbid what is evil. Ameen. Now, inshallah, I would like to invite to the stage the President of the Islamic Society of Akron and Kent, Brother Isam Halawi.
جزاك الله خير برادر ياسين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل السلام وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. On behalf of ISAC leadership and the community of Islamic Society of Akron and Kent, I would like to say جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم for accepting our invite to be part of this beautiful event in support of our brothers and sisters of Kashmir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Qasas says, قال سنشد عضدك بأخيك ونجعل لكم سلطانا. We are going to empower you and strengthen you with your own brother, and we are going to grant you authority. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he left and migrated Mecca to go to Medina, he had the Ansar of the people of the Medina, the Ansar, they were waiting for him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that they were strengthening the Prophet ﷺ, would empower the Prophet ﷺ with the Ansar. Today, and for the past 2 decades, I feel ISAC has been the Ansar and has been the Akhika for all this event, supporting multiple nations of this Ummah, mashallah. And today I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will encourage every one of you to make the right niyyah to be the Akhika and the Ansar for their brothers and sisters in Kashmir. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakumullah khair to Brother Isam for that reminder and for helping align our thoughts on the purpose for this gathering, inshallah. Next, I wanted to invite Brother Dr. Ihsan al-Haq, because he will talk about the event committee and for the co-sponsors, basically helping us understand ISAC's prior involvement in humanitarian work and in helping countries abroad, because the Muslim Ummah across many different countries is in need. And ISAC has been on the forefront in helping these humanitarian efforts. Dr. Haq?
Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. It indeed is a privilege for me to stand here and talk to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His plans. He allows us to participate on those plans. We have options. We can choose to follow those plans, or we can go astray. I find myself standing here. I did not know Brother Mir. I knew Dr. Dar in 1977 in New Jersey. Dr. Mir was here in Barberton in 74, and then was in Detroit in 1980 when he finished his GI fellowship. He was there with a friend of mine, Dr. Habibur Rahman, whom I knew from medical school. That's how I found, or I was introduced to Dr. Mir. When Dr. Mir came here after his fellowship, he found Brother Azmat, he found Shah Jamil, and he found Abdul Hadi Shimamat, and he found Brother Tayyib, who was an African American, and he found Brother James. These were the pioneers who were trying to practice Islam in this area. Did not have a mosque, did not have any place that they could call home. We were renting apartments and whatnot. And then Dr. Dar joined them in 1982, I believe. And then Brother Sania and Brother Gumravi and Dr. Zia Khan. These were the people who found the calling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the opportunity, and they said back to that call, and they formed an organization that allowed our children to have a root and have a society that first started a masjid in Kent, then bought this property, built a center here, but never forgot that this is not our doing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity and then gave us the wisdom to follow in the right path. We could have been, oh, I'm the big to do, I don't have to support it, I don't have to do it. There were people amongst our society, our community, that did not want a school. They thought it was a waste of time. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity and the wisdom to do what needed to be done. That brings us to today's gathering. This is an opportunity today for us to be counted. Brother Mir and the other presentations are going to tell you what the need is, and it's going to tell you why we are where we are. Shaitan gives you the tidings that you're going to go poor. I'm yet to see anybody ever go poor by helping and donating. I remember the very first fundraiser that we did for this masjid. We did what we could. That very day, from that fundraiser, I had to go to the hospital to take care of somebody. Before I could even give, Allah was already giving me business. So today, when Brother Mir presents his case, remember, you are not giving anything. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's allowing you to, from what He gave you, to share with people that are His makhluk, that is His creation, that you're going to take care of. So that's all I have to say. Take this as an invitation, a gathering, a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to do what needs to be done to take care of His creation. Jazakallahu khairan.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Dr. Haq, for the reminder that really we're the ones who are blessed to be able to give. And I work with youth oftentimes, and we had one event a while back when we asked them what the best quality could be in a person, and the most common thing that I was hearing was generosity. So that is definitely one of the best qualities a person can have. Next, I wanted to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. I'm honored and privileged to be the one to introduce him. Our beloved Dr. Mir, or as I like to call him, Uncle Mir, is near and dear to me, the same way this cause is near and dear to him. Dr. Mir served as an integral part of this community. He served in various capacities over the years. Many different roles in this community. He has risen to the occasion for us, alhamdulillah. And after retiring from a successful career in gastroenterology, he moved to Washington, D.C., where he could have even more impact in the fight for Kashmir's freedom. He continues to advocate for Kashmir as the founder and president of World Kashmir Awareness Forum, alongside 5 other dedicated board members. His main areas of focus include advocacy of the restoration for the right to self-determination and basic human rights and political rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The majority of Dr. Mir's extended family still resides in Kashmir. However, due to his outspoken activism on the atrocious political and human rights violation in Kashmir, the Indian authorities have prevented him from returning home for over 30 years. We cannot possibly imagine how difficult that can be for someone who loves their homeland so much. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Ghulam Nabi Mir to the stage.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu wa salam ala Rasulihil Kareem. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the universe. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Dear brothers and sisters of ISAC, Northeastern Ohio, and humanity at large, Assalamu alaikum. It feels so good to be back home in Ohio and at ISAC. Each time me and my wife Sarah come here. This is the 4th trip we have made in the almost 2 years that we have left here. Most of us, thanks to the young generation who are getting married at increasing pace, so it gives us an opportunity to come and see people we consider as our own children. And that feeling in our heart has never gone away. Nothing like Ohio around. We have been in Washington, D.C. almost 2 years. We're trying to like it. We're trying. There is nothing like Ohio except one place on earth, that is Jammu and Kashmir, particularly the Valley of Kashmir. Kashmir, as one of the kings of India said, Agar barruwe zameen ast, hami asto, hami asto, hami ast. If there is a heaven on earth, this is it, this is it, this is it. That tells you all, I don't have to say it. It was one of the Mughal emperors that said it. But life has not been so easy. What Dr. Haq already said, and Yasin said already about what I have done, and really is not as much as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me and my family and you all. So we owe a lot to him. Thank you for your warmth and your love and coming to join us this evening to know more about Kashmir. Brother Isam, I want to thank you for opening ISAC's doors for World Kashmir Awareness Forum and hosting this benefit dinner to support the freedom struggle of Kashmiri people. All we are asking for is give us the right that God has given us from the time he created us eons ago, billions of years ago, when we were up in the heaven. And nobody should take that right, not from Kashmiris, not from Indians, not from Pakistanis, not from Americans. Everybody must have that right. I would like to express my gratitude to the Board of Directors and Board of Trustees for authorizing this event. You didn't have to do it. Last but not the least, I would like to thank you, our friends, every member of this great community of Akron, Ohio, Canton, Kent, Cleveland, for joining us to learn more about our country that used to be a free country at one point. Last year, about actually 13 months ago, we had a fundraiser. I didn't dare to do it in an Islamic center. I didn't dare to do it at ISAC because I thought, what right do I have to ask this community that has done so much for us and ask them to do it for Kashmiris? We're not anything more special than other brothers and sisters in the United States. And so I asked Farid Siddiq, he's sitting here, can you stand up? Just didn't want to put you on spot, but if you please get up. And he was kind enough. All I had to do is, want to do it. He says, I'll do it in my home. I had two friends that could have done it. And I asked the first one, and I succeeded. And so we did it at his home, and many of you were there. And alhamdulillah, we did real well. But the demands have increased. If you do better, you'll need more. You'll have to spend more. Many, many years ago, we created a cohesive community together. It was not just one of us, I can tell you that. We created a not so perfect society, but nonetheless a mosaic in which there were people of all backgrounds. African Americans were my first choice here. And we tried hard, and Ehsan knows it so well. And I think Brother Naman was here too, and we invited them at our house. There are about 80, 90 people. And when we decided to, move into this house of Allah, we didn't want to do it without them being here first. We didn't want to enter the masjid. So we did what we could. So, alhamdulillah, we have done well. But all these people, it was a unique opportunity to raise funds here, and alhamdulillah, it was done. And I understand that the tradition is continuing. ISAC is holding on to its tradition, and they are being generous. This community has been here for approximately 45 years. Brother Khalid Abu Khalid, he's one of the ones who was before me here. So I remember their home up north here, and we used to go to his home, and they would entertain us. And subhanallah, still remember it. And now he and his daughter are here. Fortunate to be drawn from all different backgrounds, social, ethnic, and professional, working together to contribute to make it a reality. Americans of all different kinds, of different backgrounds, came to help us and enabled us to create this society. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, and it took all of us together to have an Islamic school here too. When did I decide to work for Kashmir? I was 16 years old. And I called for a strike in Kashmir, which is one of the bigger towns in Kashmir. That was also for Kashmir's liberation. And when I went to the place I was staying in, and one of the senior members, who was a friend of my brother, he says, "What did you do there?" I said, "What did I do? I just spoke." There were heads of the organizations, they are big ones. We were looking up to them when they walked down the streets. He says, "You don't call strikes like that. This affects the whole society." But I was 16 years old, I didn't know, but I said it. It went, and nothing happened. So it took me almost my entire life from then on until I decided in August 2019, when Prime Minister Modi absolutely overnight struck and sent 200 more thousand soldiers to make the total number of soldiers in Kashmir approximately about 1 million, but definitely 900,000. 900,000, nowhere on earth do that many soldiers live in one territory, which is Kashmir. And my wife Sarah was there at that time. And we talked on Saturday, and on Sunday we could not talk to her. My kids and we all were, it's just not us. We have several Kashmiris here at this table and over at that table. Everybody was they were just almost smothered. And we see her a month later in Houston at Islamic convention, and we thanked Allah that she came back. I realized at that time, actually a week before that, that my calling has come. Kashmir had not been struck by Modi, but I decided that someday my time is going to come. How long am I going to do medicine only, in which I serve all kinds of people, all kinds of communities? But who is going to do it for Kashmir? Everybody is scared to death. And so I decided to just leave medicine. I was at Cleveland Clinic those days at Akron General, and I decided to just leave, and my partners will stay, and I left. Kashmir is as beautiful as I said it is. This is an occupation and a settler colonialism. Settler colonialism was not known only a few years ago. There were colonies like the British colonies and others, but a settler colony is where they take you out and bring their own people and take your land. Palestine is the classic example. since 1947-48. You take the Palestinians out, get the Jewish Jewish people in. Some of them belong there. It's okay. Everybody has a right to be somewhere, but not at the cost of my family and me, and take our people out, and then you put your own people there. You don't go into another person's home, and that other person also lives in that house. Imagine somebody comes in the evening and tells you, I'm going to come in. We're both going to live here. Imagine that thought. Muslims, to more seriously and deeply explore their own fate, everyone had to call for their calling. Young people here, please don't just think of Kashmiris and the Palestinians are the only ones who are going to go through this fate. It's going to come to other communities also. So look for your calling. Yes, do medicine, do engineering, do everything else, but take up something that is much more important at this time in our history. Let me explain. Much of the world is in turmoil. Muslim communities are in turmoil under foreign and domestic Muslim tyrannies. Tyranny is important to remember. You don't go home and relax and sit there. You have no place where you can go and be safe. There are two unique 75-year-old tragedies, and they continue. These foreign occupations they'll take your life away. There are other tyrannies, internal. But these two, when I talked to somebody, a friend of mine here the other day, because I still had this feeling, should Kashmiris do an event here? He said, these two, I had been talking about it, but it had not come to this point until he told me that these two countries are in existential threat. Meaning, today your community is here, 10 years from now, those people not be in that place, or the whole country may not be there. So an existential threat is what we are under. The erstwhile state of Jammu Kashmir, it is 87,000 square miles. It is the size of, bigger than England, is the size of, size of Ohio, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, all together, minus maybe 1,000 square miles. Such is the size of this country. And we have a history of over 3,000 years. 3,000 years. Many times, actually once under Maurya dynasty, they ruled Kashmir. But Kashmir is also ruled part of India in the past. So it has been, waxing and waning in size. It is like the rest of the world, but no country in modern times has the right to take over another country. In about 600 years ago, there were these people that came from Central Asia. They're Sufis. And when they came to Kashmir, they came in large numbers and they influenced the local Hindu and Buddhist population. One of them was a person that was called Bulbul Shah. And there's a place, a mosque there, Bulbul Shah Lankar, they call it. And there was another Sufi that came. He built the, do we have the picture? Yeah, the Khanqa Mu'alla. So these are all people, they had no swords, they had no bullets, they had nothing. They came with a message to a community that was distressed, at their religious distress. So in 1324 on, there was a king, his name was Rinchen Shah. He gave bayah and became a Muslim. And then Kashmir became Muslim, 90 to 95% Muslim. I think 1 to 2% maybe Kashmiri Pandits. 47 is when India invaded and took over. I'll make the story short, but with these 90, in 1947, this is one area you need to know. I did not know it until I came here. In 1947, there was the massacre, the genocide called Jammu genocide. Jammu is the southern province of Kashmir, and the city is called Jammu also, which is the winter capital of Kashmir. Kashmir has two capitals, one in Srinagar in summer in the north, which is nice and cool, and in summer and winter it goes to Jammu. And they killed, according to the Hindu researchers, particularly some journalists, 237,000 Kashmiris were killed, and the capital city of Jammu was converted into Muslim minority city. One person who talked to me when I went to him, he was a range officer, he said, at the end of this genocide, only 14 households of Muslims were left. 237,000 were killed. That is a large number those days. And 500,000 were pushed across the border into Pakistan. And one of them, one of their ancestors, you'll probably, maybe she'd say something about it. So, to be or not to be, I tell the Kashmiri youth, to be or not to be. This is the famous Shakespeare's saying in his play, the famous play Hamlet, to be or not to be. And that is what I thought I had to do when I decided not to go back to Kashmir, where I used to go almost every year, every other year, and practice medicine for a few weeks. Thousands of resistance leaders are in prisons. That's why Kashmir is quiet. Graveyards are the quietest places, and Kashmir is quiet because of that. I'll name just a few. Asya Andrabi, 62 years old woman, chairperson of Dukhtarani Millat, is in Delhi's Tihar jail along with her husband. She's a political activist, a social activist, a political leader, and has masters in biochemistry, masters in Arabic and Islamic studies, has been jailed 20 times, and has been in jail now for 12 years. I met her son twice in Turkey. He's one of the most brilliant young men. He's doing law school, and he was 1 year old when parents were both taken. He's never seen his parents again. Dr. Muhammad Qasim, also a resistance leader, Asia's husband, has been in prison for 24 years straight. Shabir Ahmad Shah, also called Nelson Mandela of Kashmir at one point, in jail overall for 35 years. He was a young man those days. I talked to him only once. I was lucky. I was in England and I called him. He was in Kashmir. He was free at that time. Then he was taken again. And his one daughter is, become an activist. Muhammad Yasin Malik, chairman of Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, I met him a couple times. He has been in prison for approximately 3 or 4 years now. He was sentenced last year for life in prison. And now the intelligence agency is taking it back to the court, and in August he is going to be charged with possibly death sentence. So we're thinking that's where he's going to go. Brilliant man. Masrat Alam, 51 years old, chairman, Hurriyat Conference, in prison for 15 years. Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani died at 92 years age. Spent 10 years in jail, 11 years in house arrest. A scholar on Rumi, Iqbal, and Maududi. Author, orator, the best orator of Asia. I've been to heard Urdu poets in Pakistan and India, but nothing like Sayyid Ali Gilani. He was the most charismatic of the leaders. They didn't allow him to be buried by his family. In the middle of night, the police and military came and they grabbed him from his family and took him across the street, and under military guard, they buried him, basically dumped him. Okay. That was Sayyid Ali Gilani, the heartthrob of Kashmiri youth. It is the most densely populated military installation anywhere in the world. Well, since they took over Kashmir in 2019, what's happening in Kashmir? All the people are unable to speak, say a word about their freedom. We, World Kashmir Awareness, we started this organization in 2007 and then activated it in 2019. 4.2 million Indian citizens were given Kashmiri citizenship, which was not allowed until 2019. And they'd be brought in Kashmir and given our people's lands. Jobs are denied, lands are confiscated, natural resources are robbed, human rights defenders are in prison, political resistors and politicians are jailed. Now, the question is, what do we do? This saffronization, as it's called, where everybody gets Hinduized, you're not allowed to build masjids. You're not allowed to, the masjid up here, Jamia Masjid, he's been blocked, he's been closed since 2019. Its imam is not able to leave. He's a political activist also. He can't leave home. So BJP and RSS are in control of Kashmir. They are not going to be done only with us, but the Indian Muslims too. So World Kashmir Awareness Forum is a not-for-profit organization, a 501c3 organization. It's tax deductible and stands for advocacy. We stand for right of self-determination, a referendum which was approved by the United Nations Security Council. And there are about 18 such resolutions for Kashmir, but who cares really? So that's all I wanted to say. If you have any questions, I can talk about it later, but right now I would like to tell you that our needs have increased. We have realized making speeches alone is not going to do it. We have to have activism, and we got a young man, and all of them are coming by serendipity. They don't, we don't know them, and we find them somewhere. And it's just like birds of same feather flock together kind of thing, and there are no flocks here to be had. It's a bunch of 3 or 4 or 5 people. And, but alhamdulillah, we are trying to create an opportunity, and one of the ways we can advance our cause is to make movies. So the people can see it. you don't have to say, you have to tell your story different way too. It took so much effort, time and effort to get you all together. But if we could have a movie, we could tell the story, you could stay home, and you would understand exactly what's happening. They could enact and dramatize what's happening to us. So that's why we need a movie, and we have established a studio, and I'll allow Arfat Sheikh to come up here, and along with him, I think Mariam Khalid, they'll both come here, they can speak together, and they can tell you the rest of the story because they know it best. Arfat and Mariam, can you please welcome them on the stage?
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Dear brothers and sisters, it's an absolute pleasure to be here sharing this moment with you and about a cause which is very dear and personal to me, and to have you all here and see you come for something that we think a lot needs to be done. And like Dr. Mir also did say, that what's happening in Kashmir, especially post August 2019. My name is Arfat Sheikh. I'm sorry, I just forgot to introduce myself. I'm the multimedia director for World Kashmir Awareness Forum, and also a filmmaker. I started my filmmaking journey before 2019, and it just happened, like he said, a lot of things do happen because of serendipity, and I think that I'm a case of serendipity too. But when I started making movies, I wasn't trained, but now I'm trained. I started off as a documentary filmmaker to doing fiction now. But before I continue to go into my journey, I would like to introduce Sister Mariam, who is a filmmaker too, and we're both going to be doing a project, the first feature film on Kashmir. And I think Mariam should introduce yourself, and then we go ahead. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mariam Khalid, and as Arfat said, I'm a filmmaker. I write and I direct and I produce content that is based on true things, true stories. And we'll show you a presentation, we'll show you a teaser, a trailer that we've made for this thing that we're working on. I think, Arfat, if you want to talk about how we started this project, that would be wonderful.
Well, it's an interesting story. I was in Kashmir when the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A happened, and I actually came here on the 15th of August, which is the Independence Day of India. And I remember when I was in Atlanta and I came to do an MFA in filmmaking from one of the universities there. And I remember I was given a video by somebody who's a dear friend, and he said that, can you cut a video for us? So I was like, okay. So I cut a video, and I see this woman in the video, and there's this white woman going by and looking at the rally, and she's asking this woman that what exactly is happening. And she's explaining, and that was a part of the rally. It was just a simple YouTube sort of a video, which you didn't have to really do much on it. But it was this woman that I was like, wow, okay, she explains it really well. And down the line, she's the same woman that I'm making the film with, so which is amazing that how we got introduced. It was through a video wherein she was explaining things about Kashmir. And it all started, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to actually do filmmaking. I was a banker back in England, to being a banker into then PR and then wanting to do films. And then finally I'm here sharing this stage with Mariam. It is satisfying because then I realized that, okay, she has a personal story too. She's a Kashmiri, and it's been I think more than 100, I think more than 80 years, 100 years I would say, because her family was part of the Jammu genocide too, when they actually were expelled, and they had, I think that you probably would want to share that yourself, but I started my journey when I felt that I couldn't talk, when my father was murdered. And when this happened, I was only a teenager and I couldn't really say anything at that point in time. And I remember like how people would become my mouthpiece, and not my mouthpiece, my family's mouthpiece. And when I saw the reports in the newspaper that what are they writing about my father, because he was a musician and he was very popular in Kashmir. And when that happened, I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not getting my agency, I'm not able to speak. And that was the idea that started, like, and then I started working for various not-for-profit organizations. Then I did a lot of documentary filmmaking work. And that kind of like, that's when I realized that that's my true calling. And, you know, I got excited with the whole concept of filmmaking and telling your own stories. And I could also see like how Bollywood, the Indian film industry, is taking our stories away and giving us no agencies and presenting us as the caricatures, or like, you know, people who are just behind the scene, their stories do not come up. And if you see the timeline of the Bollywood also, in the 70s it was just, you would see the mountains, like, you know, when Dr. Mir was speaking also, you saw like, you know, the initial bit of the video. So that's exactly, you would see like we were at the backdrop, you know. None of our stories would come out there. But then post 1990s, we all of a sudden became the enemy, the villains in the film. We became the terrorists, and there were movies. And now you see in post 2019, you have films like Kashmir Files, which is like literally mocking us. And then you had the Kerala story. Now you have 72 Hure. So that's when we decided, like, okay, we gotta have our own narrative. We gotta like make sure that we push our films, and we are the ones who direct them, and we're the ones who actually present them to the audience. I think, Mariam, you probably need to say something. Thank you so much, everybody.
Should we just go through the presentation? Like Arfat was saying, my family comes from Shopian in Srinagar, and everything I know about Kashmir is stories I've heard from my father and his father, and it was something that has always been in, I told Arfat this, in the back of my heart, that one day I want to create work that speaks our voice, that tells our stories, that tells the truth about who we are and what we experience, that we are not a statistic, that we are human beings who are joyful and have love and heartbreak, and these things are happening on top of it. Because when so many horrible things, so many atrocities keep happening, the world just sees you as a number. One more, one more, one more. So we decided that it was time that we started to tell our stories ourselves. Should we dive into the presentation now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
So this is, I'm sorry.
Can we start from the title?
Yeah, can we start from the title?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we did. Okay. So this presentation is about the film that we're about to do, and we of course going to be sharing the teaser with you. This is the first time we would be sharing the teaser with anybody, but right now we're just going to be presenting to tell you that why it is important for us to make this film, and why it is important for Muslim voices to come in front, and what the story is all about. So yeah, please, Mariam.
So our film is called Saffron Kingdom. And if you know anything about Kashmir, you know that that is one of the resources that it's known best for. It is something that is coveted all around the world. It is something that people see as valuable as gold, but nobody knows what it's going through. to get to our homes in all these other countries. Let's see. So our story is, Saffron Kingdom takes us on a multi-generational quest into the complex and conflict-driven life of a refugee woman from Indian-occupied Kashmir. The story begins in 2019 with Arzu, a documentary filmmaker now living in Atlanta, Georgia. We watch our heroine become submerged in guilt and bestowed with the responsibility of saving her family from the tribulations of the upcoming revocation of Article 370 and 35A, a dooming possibility that eventually plunged Indian-occupied Kashmir into a communication blackout and disconnected it from the rest of the world for almost a year. As we go deeper into her journey, we travel to the year 1990 and witness how the Gaukadal massacre affected and incited the downfall of Arzu's family, ultimately causing the disappearance of her father and the deaths of several family members. While she unwraps her childhood trauma, the news of the revocation completely dismantles her life. We watch as she grasps at straws for some semblance of safety. She comes to find out that the trauma of the past is very much present in her and her family's life. However, by journeying back and forth through time, guided by young Arzu's delicate sensory-filled memories, we recall the beauty of her everyday life and relationships, furthering the severity of her trauma. These revelations slowly unearth truths that were hidden from her, plunging her into the chaos and eventually giving her the courage to find her voice and tell her story. So our hope is to be shooting in these locations, since one of the things is that we can't go to Jammu and Kashmir. We can't shoot there as Kashmiri filmmakers. We are not allowed to create this content. We have to find places that look similar or as close to Kashmir as possible. Here are some of the actors that we hope that we can get from a lot of different areas. Some are Kashmiri, some are Pakistani, some are American. There's one sitting right over there. You can't see him. This is our mood board. These are the images that we hope to capture with our film. Some of these shots you'll see in the actual trailer itself, and some of these are just inspiration for us to create through light, through different camera work, through just different aesthetics. This is some more. This is a little bit about me. My name is, again, I said, Mariam Khalid. I'm a writer and director. I'm a playwright and an actor as well. I am the founder and artistic director of Sky Creature Productions and Saya Arts International, with a theater and performance degree from Kennesaw State University in Atlanta, Georgia. I have been creating and performing immersive theater in Atlanta for the past decade. My work has led my companies to receive over 20 major awards. Some of them include Best Director, Best Show, Inspiration Award from the Prague Fringe Festival. I was also selected as 30 Artists to Watch Under 30. Most recently, my short film, Mazloom, that talks about repressed childhood memories, abuse, was awarded multiple awards, including Best Director, Best Short Drama, and Best Actress. I thrive to create work that ignites empathy, truth-telling, and a bird's-eye view of our experiences. This is some of my past work. Some of this is film, some of this is theater. And for those interested, I can share some of the work, some of the trailers, and we can watch it at some point. I think you can tell them just I don't think we can watch this right now. You can tell him. Ikhwan, can you move on to the next one? Oh, no. No, the next slide, sorry. This is our cinematographer. This is some of his work. He has worked with,
Another cinematographer in Kashmir. So
yeah, so this is one of our cinematographers. The one that we have from Atlanta, he has done profiles on Barack and Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey. He's created content that's garnered more than 17 million views online. He's somebody who creates work very much in line with how Arfat and I create work. So you can see some examples right here of stuff that he's shot. And would you like to talk? Yeah.
Right. Before we move on to myself, but Chris is one of the DOPs. By DOP, we mean Director of Photography, or in a simpler term, it's the cinematographer. We do have another Director of Photography also. The reason that we could not keep his name here is because of the security reasons. He would be the one who would be giving us all the external shots in Srinagar, because what we now trying to create is to maybe do the tighter shots here in the US, and make sure that all our external shots, and when they're running in the alleys of downtown Srinagar, we have all of those shots come from Srinagar, and we green screen it here. I mean, if this is technical, I'm so sorry, but it would make sense once, inshallah, you'll see the film. Okay, and that's me, Arfat. I'm a filmmaker from Kashmir, and I have over 10 years of experience of conceptualizing and directing video documentaries for the development sector. I have been featured and recognized by the United Nations for my work, which I did for a few not-for-profit organizations. The US Congress, under their project, The Liquid Blackness, they have a project called Liquid Blackness going on here in America, which is to make sure that the black people do also get the mainstream presence within the US entertainment industry. So I did a project called Azadi. And this Azadi was a project where, I showed a man who was a stone pelter, and then what goes through his mind. So it was a psychological stuff which was inspired by a great black filmmaker from LA Rebellions. So I kind of did that film, inspired by the works that they had done, and that was featured as part of their project, the Big Liquid Blackness, here in the US. And I did another project called Blood Hopes, which was for the enforced disappearances in Kashmir, which is annually featured in Cambridge University in the UK as part of the annual Global South Asian Summit on enforced disappearances. But with this film, I'm embarking on a journey to make fiction films. I have done shorts, but I haven't really done anything as grand as this. And hopefully making sure that it would create much awareness, and it also raises a question of the inequality which is prevalent in places such as in Kashmir and Palestine. This is some of my work. The first one is Blood Hopes, which was on the disappeared and forced disappearances. Azadi, again, it's about mental trauma. Then I have a postcard from Kashmir. If you guys are aware of Shahid Ali, he was one of the greatest poets from Kashmir. So I kind of adapted his poem and made that short film. Then this is a film which actually, this is the last one that you see is actually my father, who was a musician. So I did a documentary film, which was an experimental film, which actually went to the festival that Mariam was curating. So that's again how we both met. Yeah. Right. So, well, of course, it's a huge project, and if we want to tell our story, it needs money too. So this is like how we think that we're gonna get funds, and one of the reasons why we're here is because we want to request your good selves that if you could be generous enough to help us complete this project. And then there are other ways of us securing funds too, such as we want to make sure that we actually do write to different grants also, other than conducting events and collaborations such as the one that we have here right now. Yeah. Yeah. So can we have the lights off? Yeah. We're going to show you this teaser, and when we say it's a teaser, a trailer is, you normally take shots from the film and the film's already been shot. But a teaser is just to tease you and to say like, hey, this is what we want to achieve. So this necessarily does not come from the movie, but it is just to give you an idea, like the mood board that Mariam shared with you. So this is a teaser which we shot in Atlanta recently. And the work is still going on. We want to extend it, but this is what we have. And it gives me immense pleasure that this is the first time we are unveiling it. So, yeah. It is in 2 languages. One is in English and one is in Kashmiri. So we'll play the Kashmiri one first, followed by the English one. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I think I'll go down and manage it. You just say that. Just say that. I'm just gonna play.
us tell the world our own story.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. So, just in case, like I said before, it's just a teaser, and we still need money, and we need money to. It's a huge production. It costs us, if we be like really frugal, it costs us like around 400K to do the whole movie because we have the script and everything ready right now. So that's about it. And in case you guys are interested to know like what all it involves to create a movie, we have some notes here of the budget, like what all departments does it include. So anyone who's interested can take a look. It's just here lying on the table. You want to conclude?
And if anybody has any questions or thoughts, please come see us. We're right here. Thank you for giving us the space and the time to watch this thing that we are very, very passionate about. And we hope that regardless, you get to see it one day in your theaters or on a streaming service, because ultimately that is our goal, that this film is made for Kashmiris, but it's made to be seen by the world. So inshallah, that will happen.
Yeah. Inshallah, and thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Arafat and Sister Maryam. What a beautiful teaser for what I believe will be a fantastic film, inshallah. I think that I, for one, am going to watch it when it comes out, inshallah. There's an Urdu word called jazba. It refers to something that's a strong sentiment, something when you have a zeal for something. We have a jazba towards helping the oppressed, helping those in need. But sometimes we don't always know enough about the causes that we want to support. This has been an extremely eye-opening event for me, and I'm sure many of you. But we also have an opportunity to ask questions from people who know a lot more than us. So inshallah, for a short Q&A session, I would like to bring back Dr. Amir and Brother Arafat and Sister Maryam to the stage just to answer some questions that you might have, inshallah. Yep. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thanks. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Arfat and Maryam. They both have personal experiences. I have never spoken, well, maybe somewhere along the way I must have spoken about it. My experience is not exactly to the level that Arfat's for sure has been. He was a teenager. Am I okay to say? He was a teenager, son of one of the most prominent Kashmiri musicians, and he was also towards the top of the industry. Radio Kashmir was the institution to be in, and he had reached the top. His name was Sheikh Ghulam Nabi, And any person I talk to in Kashmir of that generation or later generations, they say they know of him. So he loses his father. His father and mother were traveling together to Delhi, and in Punjab, his sister, and his sister, your father's daughter, and he probably got off the train, never came back. To make this a long story short, turns out that he was killed, and he was not buried, he was burned. You can only understand the emotion. And Mariam's family comes from Shupaya. I didn't know that it was Shupaya originally, and that is close to Jammu. And I think they had to flee, and they have suffered. And you saw the story. This story is just minute. If they're not, you're not a talent. You don't have talent for art. You probably won't have understood it. I don't always understand them. It takes me many times. My personal story is, I'm saying it for the first time, August 9, 1990, as soon as the breakdown occurred. My most dear friend in my life was Ali Muhammad Mir. He was my paternal cousin. He was my tutor, he was my mentor. Even after I came to the United States, he would give me guidance. I had my own children, and he knew them too. And I would listen to him because he was so brilliant and so honest. He was taken from in front of the school, put on a military jeep, and taken to the district headquarters of what's called Kupwara, and he never came back. That was 1990. His wife, they had no children. His wife is still living, and about 4 years or 5 years ago, she developed a stroke. She's living at her father's home. And their son, who they adopted, who was my sister's brother, he is in prison in Haryana, which is a part of Punjab, close to Punjab. He's a school teacher and then brilliant man. He was Sadidi Gilani's follower in politics, and his brother just saw him. That's about all they can do. He has 3 children. Fast forward to 1998. My brother, Amiruddin Mir, who came to Akron, Ohio, in 1987. He was here for 3 months. Him and I went to school together. He was shot dead. My cousin Basharat was 16 years old. They lived about 2 doors from us. The military axed his head and shot him, left him for dead, and that was it. My maternal cousin's son, he was killed. So this is the story of many people in Kashmir. That's why I don't say it. But because today we are talking of making a movie, I had no idea we will actually be able to make a movie. But when Arfat also, this is a coincidence also how I found him or he found us, I don't know how. But anyway, then we start finding each other. And these are things that have happened over the years. And now then we thought, well, somebody asked us in Cleveland, I think it could have been you, Masood Mustafa, are you making any movies? I said, we are looking for it because somebody wanted us to make a docudrama as a doctor, but then it did not come to be. But when he came, he said, you know, I have found somebody who is a movie maker. He himself I knew was, and so he had found Maryam. So this is something that will be telling our story. The way I am telling the story, not many people are going to listen. Or even they tell the story, they're not going to listen, but if they put it in the film form, inshallah it will happen. So we decided to create a studio, Daffodil Studios, and that its first production is going to be the Saffron Kingdom. And we think, inshallah, those names will catch, and we'll make many, many movies to come. And this is not, Kashmir has so many stories, we could tell them until the day of judgment and will not get done with them. It's just question of, do we have the guts, the courage, and does our community have the effort? I remember one Quranic ayah, I remember just, it's very simple. What is the hard path to take? The Quran says, Fakku Raqabah. That is releasing a neck from bondage. That is taking a hard path. Many people tell me, yeah, I know, I have a friend. This is the story, I won't tell his name, can't. He has same profession as I have. I've been sending him requests for fundraising, sending us some support. He is pretty wealthy. And each time he says, oh, send me the address. This is about 4 or 5 years. And my wife and I both know him. So each time I still send him, and I love him, he's so wonderful. But each time there's no response. But then he tells me stories, you know, what's happening in Pakistan, what's happening in Kashmir, and he's teaching me, but he just doesn't, it doesn't occur to him, that's the problem. It has to occur to you that this is real. This could be me, this could be my family, this could be my relative. This could be a Palestinian, this could be a Kashmiri, this could be Jewish, this could be Hindu, this could be a Buddhist. It could be happening to them. Would I keep quiet at that time, not speak for them just because they are not Muslims? And or would I not help them if they were suffering, if they come to me as a physician or non-physician? So that's the kind of humanity we have to have. If we have that humanity, we'll stop by everywhere where somebody is in pain and suffering. So that is my request to you, and inshallah down the road. Now what we can do is, I was asked, how do we connect to ISAC? I don't know how, because it took a lot of courage to ask you, and if our president had not said we're going to do it, I would not have done it. We have been talking for months, Arfat and I, can we really do it? I didn't know if we could. But now when you said yes, and then you moved forward with it, and Dr. Haq is a member of our board, and when we said, if we cannot do it, who can? How much more do we have to suffer to be able to tell the story? And so I think with that, I think there are opportunities for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to support us. I think no nation remains in jeopardy forever. Imam said that several times. Our time will come. The question at that time will be, will we be so heartless like the others were? Indians were occupied for 200 years by the British and others before. And as soon as they got free, they took us over. And before they had taken us over, they finished 237,000 people, sent their own troops, Patiala rifles, Patiala regiment, to kill our people, to cut the size of our population. And similarly, I think this is going to happen to others too. And in our dua, I always say, oh Allah, don't make me an oppressor and don't make me one of the oppressed. I think that should be the approach we should have. If you have any questions, and I'll let the lady and gentleman to answer you. I'll let you handle it and see if there are any questions.
Does anybody have any questions or thoughts to share that we can help answer? Yeah. There's a microphone if you would like to use it. There's a question right there.
Okay, Sabah.
Assalamualaikum. This is a great undertaking, and I'm just very curious. What is the timeline you expect for this project?
Timeline-wise, our hope is to shoot this year. We are hoping that by November we shoot all of the footage. Then by January we have everything edited and ready to go. So we have a full feature, like 90 minutes plus feature film. Do you want to talk a little bit about the PR and extra stuff?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. And I'm glad that you actually asked it because initially when we started the project, we didn't even know that we had a deadline or not because we were just still like sort of, playing around with the idea, what story to tell. And it took a lot of stuff to, behind the scenes to do before Mariam could complete the script. She had to even travel to Pakistan. She had to speak to a lot of people, a lot of survivors from the Gaukadal massacre also, because we wanted to make sure that this is not a fiction, but it's like based on true events. So all the characters that she has written about are actually true people. It's inspired by the trueness of the characters that she has spoken to, which actually includes me too. So we kept November. Why? Because we want to do this in fall, in winter, because unfortunately the Gaukadal massacre also did happen in winters. And we want to show the coldness of the whole thing, like what's happening in Kashmir. And we want to shoot in January in Srinagar also, like all our external shots. And I think that's what the deadline is. And then we, of course, have to spend some time for the post-production also, which includes our PR and marketing. So yeah, by the end of, I would say, March 2024, inshallah, we'll have the project ready. Yeah. Thank you. You okay?
With regard to, I can only talk about the financial part of it, and we have one of the board members already here. One of the main partners in this is not here, can't say his name either. You probably indirectly know who I'm talking about. We have made our own mind up that if we do not gather enough financial support, we'll do it at our own cost. We're going to survive. If we didn't have that determination, then it would be playing with others' money and other things. So whatever the community can, at large cannot raise, we'll have to do it from our, and I told him that many times. But many times I have asked them too, are you sure you can do it? If you guarantee, and he would come back, he said, we talked to you several times, but we understand. I said, if you can't, then I made a mistake. I pay for it, and I have my partners, friends pay for it. So inshallah, I think we'll be successful. And I only sat with them a few times, and obviously, no intellectual in film and other things. I watch movies, but I don't know exactly how they do it. But I think it is possible that there are people, I'll have to talk to my broker too, if things come to that point, he'll probably tell me, be careful. But I have to, this one time I'll have to defy him and tell him I have to do it. And I have got permission from my wife, and we said, this one time, just trust me, we came here with, I think, $200 in our pocket. I think we'll still have more than $200, inshallah. So, okay.
So, yeah, Brother Yasin is saying we do have time for another question. If somebody has a question and wants to ask, please feel free. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, before the others too. Okay.
My question was about the the cast. How are they? If the plan is to shoot everything by the end of the year, and are they all committed, assuming they get paid? And can you talk a little bit about how the casting is going to happen?
Thank you. Yeah, Herman.
It's a producer. Acha. Thank you, Arfat. So the way that this is working is we wanted to cast as many Kashmiris and Kashmiri Americans and Kashmiri actors as we could. Unfortunately, it is a very delicate, fine line where a lot of Kashmiri actors are in Bollywood, and not a lot of those people are willing to risk their careers. So we have been looking all over the world. We're looking at Pakistani cinema, we're looking at American cinema, we're looking at British cinema, we're looking at every sort of community around us to find the right people. And then the process after that is pretty simple. We have our wish list, our dream list of actors. We reach out to their agent. We figure out what our timeline is and if it works well with them. And then we set up auditions and we have rehearsals and we try to, my job as director is to make sure that every actor who is on board truly understands how to immerse themselves into these characters, because these are real people that they will be portraying. So we can't just get away with, you know, some like lethargic acting. The process itself will be grueling. It will require people who don't speak Kashmiri to learn Kashmiri. It will require people to truly understand the weight of what is going on so that they can emote this on screen. Yeah.
And also to answer your question more precisely, we did actually try to get in touch with a few agencies in Pakistan. And we did actually have a few people who were interested in doing the project. The moment they realized that it's Kashmir, it's like, hey, I'm not going to drop my Bollywood dreams, especially in Kashmir, because that's where they want to cross over. We had that problem while we were trying to get in touch with our production agency in Pakistan also. Some of them would like just say straight no, because you know, they aspire to cross over into Bollywood. But that's that. But we also have started sending these, you know, the character specification to a lot of agents in Los Angeles, because there are a lot of South Asian community there also. So we're actually speaking to them too right now, and also in Atlanta, because Atlanta also is like a very huge filming location, and you have a lot of people who are associated with this industry. So we already have started, but initially we thought we'd just get the Pakistanis because it was easier and it was cheaper and they could understand the culture, I guess. But unfortunately, most of them like are vying for Bollywood, and this could like you know, shatter their dreams, unfortunately. Yeah. I hope I answered your question. I know it's partial as yet, but I'll keep you updated. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Arfat, Sister Maryam, and Dr. Mir for that really enlightening Q&A. And thank you all for joining us tonight for this benefit dinner for Kashmir. Your presence and participation have made a significant impact. This is what I hope will only be the first step in, inshallah, many future steps to help support this cause, inshallah. You need a minute to speak?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for standing up and being counted. We have 41,000. I need 9 more. We have 41,000, I need 9 more. So, how do we want to do it? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 tables, 16. How much can we give from each? Okay, that's fine, I'll take it. I'll even take 600 from each table, so we got 42,000 now. Eight are left. All right, I'll give 3. 5 are left. You'll give 2? Okay, so we have 7. Okay, so only 2,000 is left for the rest of you. Okay, alhamdulillah, we're done. Jazakallahu khairan.
Inshallah. With that said, I would just like to conclude by having Brother Isam wrap up the evening, inshallah, and then we'll disperse for food.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair wa barakallahu feekum. I'm very humbled for this turnout, mashallah, alhamdulillah. I just want to remind all of you that in case you have not had the cash or the check with you, look at the program paper right in front of you. You can take it home with you. There's a PayPal QR code. There's a mailing address. There's a Zelle. You could use the email address to donate to Kashmir Awareness Forum. And also there's a voucher here if you want to do pledges with the credit card processing over 12 months payment, inshallah, you could do that as well. We could render it here and we could process it. And if you forget and you don't have none of this available to you, go to isac.com/donate, isac.org/donate, and select Kashmir Awareness Forum. I just edited it in, so it's going to be there for at least a couple of weeks. So you have a couple of weeks to log in and go to isac.org/donate and select Kashmir Awareness Forum and place your donation. Jazakumullah khair wa barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please inshallah enjoy dinner. Jazakallah khair.